Hello guys, thank you for tuning in. My name is Carlos Gomez. I'm gonna keep this video real brief. The reason why I became an entrepreneur is because I saw my mother struggle with me and my sister her entire life. My father got deported when I was two. He got arrested when I was 2 months old and deported when I was 2 years old. Um, and and I just know that I just couldn't. I mean, my mother. I seen my mother struggle so much with me and my sister. She worked 50 hours a week. Um, to support me and my sister while I was, getting kicked out of school. I was getting kicked out of daycare, getting kicked out of elementary school, middle school. I mean, you did whatever you name it, I did it. I was horrible. And she never gave up on me, and she could have simply gave me up for adoption. You could say she could have, done anything in the world besides taking care of me. But she took care of me and my sister the way she did, and I salute her because of that. And so, I mean, there was times where she wasn't even allowed to go to other people's houses because of me, because I was so horrible. So my whole goal for my life was to retire my mother because I didn't want her to work for the rest of her life. I felt like I owe her that much at least, because she did so much for me. So when I was when I was 8 years old, I started my first business. Between 8 and 10, I actually paid off three of my mother's credit card debts and helped my grandmother out with some of her bills as well. And I learned that even though I was helping them out, I was giving even though I was helping them out, they were still getting themselves into more debt. As I was helping them, they were still getting themselves into more debt. So I learned at the same time that me, I couldn't put myself in a position where I'm gonna work that hard so young to help somebody keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. You understand? And so I was caught in a what to do moment. So at a very young age. So when I was 13 years old, I actually I became an investor, and that's what and that's when everything for me started playing out the right, like that's when everything for me started going right. Well, in the business world, that's when everything I learned. So like I learned certain things that I did certain things that other people weren't doing in order for me to get what other people couldn't get. So when I was younger, when I was younger, 8 years old, I opened up my brain. But I mean, I opened up like my like I just opened up to possibilities that's out there because I understood that we were in America. I understood that we were in the best land, the best country in the world, the land of the free. Why is it that if we're in the land of the free, why should I have to grow up and work for somebody else and be a slave for somebody else and help somebody else build their dreams rather than me build my own dream? You understand? So at a young age, I'm looking at, as I'm watching TV, I notice people, I'm watching kids that's 5 years old, 4 years old, and they're TV, they barely can talk, but they're making so much money. They're just waiting to hit 18 years old to touch, to put their hands on get their hands on their money. While I'm over here being told, all I gotta do is go to school, get my diploma, and get a good job when I'm 18. And I'm thinking, so why don't they? They don't have to do that. They're millionaires before they even turn 10. And so I knew that there was a better way out there for me. There was opportunities everywhere for me. Um, so while all of my friends, they were waiting to turn 13 years old to get the blue card from their nurse, so that their nurse can go ahead. I mean, so that they can go ahead and get a part-time job during the summer and get paid minimum wage. While they were doing that, I was actually, brainstorming at that time and trying to figure out a way. So I started my first business at 8 years old, and that was really what drove me to do that. And what drove me to become an investor at 13 was the fact that when I started my first business, like I said, my mother and my grandmother basically they weren't really they didn't know any better but to just make money and spend money, make money and spend money. So I had to figure out a better way for me to support myself before I start supporting them, and to make it my goal to retire my mom before I turn a certain age or before she turns a certain age. So my main goal was for me to become financially independent by the time I was 18 years old. When I set that goal at 13 years old. And by the time I was 15 years old, with my investments that I made at 13 and 14, I was already making about $600 a month in profit and interest. So it really opened my mind at that age, to the possibilities that I didn't have to work for somebody else in order to make a living, because I wasn't, I was already making money in school. So I was a full-time student, still collecting or making, receiving a $150 interest, check or whatever you want to call it. I was making $150 a week profit um, while I was in school. So it really opened. While there's other people that's working part time making $150 a week part time. So it opened up the possibilities for me because I understood that my mom owned the business and the person she was her employee at the time or her employees, she if they work part time, she pays them $160 a week part time, minimum wage. So I understood that if I'm 15 years old and I'm making $150 a week profit, while this person that's working for my mom is a grown person with bills. I'm sorry, with bills and everything, responsibilities, and they're making $160 a week working part time, then I really opened up my brain to to the fact that I didn't have to work for somebody else. So I actually got involved with the network marketing industry, but when I was 16 years old, because I let my investments, put in all the work for me. I just let that do the. I let my investments keep doing what they was doing because it was doing good. So at 16 years old, I joined the network marketing industry, and that so far has been the best decision I've made in my life. And the reason why I decided to do that was because I wanted to take it up a notch. I wanted to, I wanted to speed up the process of me retiring my mom, of me retiring myself. I'm sorry, of me retiring, my sister, or anybody else in my family that I really care for. I really, my whole thing is that I was a very bad child. So I mean, like, I was very horrible. I got kicked out of daycare, middle school, elementary school, got in trouble a lot. So my counselor actually told me one time, don't work for anybody because I was gonna get fired because of my character. And so that stood with me a long way, And so I was a horrible student. My grades were always failing, and so I just knew that school wasn't the way for me. I didn't want to go to college and have to work for somebody and stuff like that. And every time I would tell the teacher, every time my teacher would ask me what I wanted to do with my life, I would tell her I want to be a businessman. They would tell me, "Oh, I hope we don't see you on the news for something negative in the future." And so I would just take that like that. That's very offensive if you think about it, because I'm a child raised and born in the city. I'm a minority. So because I'm telling my teacher that I want to be a businessman, they automatically assume I want to be a drug dealer. So that also stuck with me. That also stuck with me to, not prove them wrong, but to prove myself right that I'm not gonna be that kind of person. So far I'm only 19 years old and I've had major success, in the business world, in general. I know what it feels like to have success in business, and so that's really why I wouldn't go back to corporate America, but or go to corporate America. Um, but my biggest motivation and the reason why I wake up in the morning is because I can't rest until I'm successful, up to the point where I have reached all the goals that I have set. And goals, as you reach them, you keep adding more goals. So there's never, you shouldn't have to stop. you know and so that's really why I decided to be an entrepreneur. I feel like I owe my mom the world because she didn't give up on me. And at a young age, I felt like I had to step up to the plate and be the man of the house. Although I was the baby of the house because my sister's 2.5 years older than me. Um, Although I was the baby of the house, I still felt like I had to step up and be the man of the house because there was nobody there to protect my sister or my mom. So I noticed. I witnessed a lot of mental abuse. My mom went through. My sister, I witnessed a lot of physical and mental abuse that my sister went through, where her boyfriends, or you could say, or whatever. And so I just knew that I wanted to just do something different to take my whole family out of the environment that we were currently in. And that's the reason why I used to, when I was a young kid, I never waited to, graduate, become 13 to work in the summer, or, graduate high school to get my diploma and get a job, or, go to college, get a degree, and then go and work for somebody. My whole thing was that, we in America, And if you go ahead and you know, like, we're in America, this is the land of the free. So why should I have to sell my soul to help somebody else build their dreams instead of me building my own? You know, so I always understood that, and I take it, and you know, I always apply that concept that I'm gonna build my dream instead of building someone else's. So thank you for your time. I hope you enjoyed the video. There's gonna be more to come. This is just the first, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.